Story I'm going to tell you, you're not going to believe it. Every word of it is true. I know, because it happened to me. Dick Piston, hotel detective. It was a Friday night in the big city, and on a Friday night, you'll find me making my rounds at the Lakeview Hotel. It's a two-bit armpit on the upside of downtown. I mean, any time before midnight, that is, because after midnight, well, catch me drowning my proverbial sorrows at the 5-star dive bar in the lobby of that hotel. But at 10 minutes to midnight, I'm always here in my office, watching the clock. I mean, not that I'm a proverbial stickler for whatever it is that punctual people stickle for. Not that I couldn't use the overtime. But management had told us anyone who did use the overtime, well, we'd be spending all our time Xeroxing resumes at the discount copy shop at the corner. See, this hotel had been wallowing in red ink for quite some time, and it was going to continue to hemorrhage proverbial money if it kept on hemorrhaging potential guests, and I only wish that was a metaphor. Lakeview Hotel had the highest mortality rate of any luxury accommodation west of Baghdad, east of Baghdad, in Baghdad. In fact, as hotel detective, I personally investigated 6 unsolved murders just in the last 5 weeks. And, yeah, committed 4 of them. So management wasn't entirely happy with my proverbial job performance. And they told me anyone who clocked in even 1 minute of unauthorized overtime would be out of a proverbial job. And when they said anyone, they meant me, Dick Piston, hotel detective. So at 10 minutes to midnight, I had my proverbial eyes glued to that literal clock. Because when that struck 12, well, my Friday night nightmares became somebody else's Saturday morning problems. So if my luck holds true...
Dick Piston, I need you.
Oh, Lady Luck, you can set your watch by her.
I need your help.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not the man you're looking for.
You're not Dick Piston?
No, I'm just not helpful.
But you are the hotel detective.
Well, for 9 more minutes I am, but it's not going to be a 10. So if it's anything more time-consuming than a stuck pickle jar, well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to refer you to the day shift.
But you have to help me. I'm the victim of a crime.
Well, unless that crime is unnecessary wetness, not much I can do with the time allotted.
It's not unnecessary wetness.
Are you sure? Because I've got a blow dryer here in the desk.
Mr. Piston, please. You can't just turn your back on me.
Not in that outfit, no.
Then you'll help me?
For 8 more minutes I will, but that's all the time we got.
Will that be enough?
I don't know, it depends on the crime. What's yours?
I think they call it murder.
And you say you're the victim.
Yes, it happened just now, up in my hotel room.
You know what murder is, right?
It's the one where someone kills someone, right?
That's the one.
Yay.
Oh boy. All right, listen. I'm going to take your case. But I'm also going to set this egg timer. And when it goes off, no matter what, case dismissed. Is that understood?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Piston. How can I ever repay you? I'm so grateful.
Yeah, well, come in here and tell us. Thanks enough.
You're welcome.
Now, if you have a seat, I'm going to make a phone call.
But aren't you going to rush up to my hotel room and examine the scene of the crime?
You know, ordinarily I would, but we don't have the time. Hello, front desk? Yeah, it's me, Dick Piston, hotel detective. Yeah, put me through to the kitchen.
What are you doing?
I'm ordering room service.
Will that speed up the investigation?
Not at all,
Then why are you doing it?
because no man in his right mind would be alone in a room with a woman in a towel without a bottle of champagne and a half order of oysters on the way. Yeah, listen, I'm going to have the honeymoon special and send it up to my office pronto. And a box of condoms.
Thank you, Mr. Piston. How can I ever repay you?
Well, I do have condoms coming.
Mr. Piston! I'm a married woman!
You know what? Then you can never repay me.
And how did you know this was our honeymoon?
Listen, just tell me about the murder. Get it over with. Maybe if we make this quick, I might have some time to xerox some resumes before morning.
Well, I was up in my room taking a shower before dinner.
So you haven't eaten.
No, not yet. But those oysters sound delicious.
So the murder took place in the bathroom?
No, it was in the bedroom.
After the shower?
No, during.
So you were shot in the shower by somebody in the bedroom?
What makes you think I was shot?
Well, because if you were stabbed, you'd be in the same room as the killer.
My God! You think that he was in the shower with me?
No, I think you were shot.
But I wasn't shot. Look.
Wow. Oh, yeah, or stabbed for that matter. It does look like you had a close shave at some time.
No, that's waxing.
Well, you know what? Given that you weren't harmed in any way,
Have you ever been waxed?
so what makes you think you were murdered?
Oh, I wasn't murdered.
But you said you were.
I said I was the victim of a crime.
And the crime was murder.
Oh, well done, Mr. Piston. With your keen eye for detail, we'll have this case sewed up in no time.
So if the crime was murder, and you were the victim, why are you here?
Well, I had to report it, didn't I? He was my husband, after all.
You mean the killer?
No, the killeree.
Ah, so the murder victim was your husband.
Yes, it happened up in my hotel room. He was shot in the head, on the bed.
So you were the victim by marriage.
And this was supposed to be our honeymoon.
I see. And is that how you were dressed when you discovered the body?
Yes, I had just stepped into the shower where I was nude, Mr. Piston. Can you imagine? When I heard what sounded like gunshots and a blood-curdling scream. Naturally, I finished my shower, put on some makeup, and raced into the bedroom right away to see what was the matter. And that's where I found him. Dead, on the bed, with a slug in his head.
Listen, were there any signs of a forced entry?
Well, he'd been dropping hints all weekend, so I was hoping. This is our honeymoon after all.
No, I mean to the room.
Oh, no. Everything seemed perfectly normal. Except for that horrible dead guy lying there.
You mean your husband?
Yes, that was his name. Guy.
And he was horrible?
Oh, yes. Brains everywhere.
Look, Mrs. Guy, normally this is the point in the investigation where I'd rush up to your room and examine the body, but you know what? We are short on time, and I'm just going to cut to the proverbial chase.
Room service.
There's your killer.
Oh my gosh! Oh, but how could you possibly know that?
Well, was your husband clinically insane?
No, not clinically.
Well, that's how I know.
I don't understand.
And there's no time to explain. Well, actually, wait, there's 4 minutes, so let me explain. If there are no signs of a forced entry, then it means that your husband must have let the murderer into the room himself, which means that your husband was either knew him personally or was expecting him shortly. The bellhop, for example.
But why would he be expecting a bellhop?
Because your husband was not clinically insane, and since no man in his right mind would be alone in a room with a woman in a towel, with a bottle of champagne and a half order of oysters on the way, and since he knew you were about to enter the room, we know that he must have ordered room service.
It makes perfect sense.
So your husband's order must have arrived while you were still in the shower, and yet you haven't eaten.
Because there wasn't any food.
Exactly. And if there's no edibles in evidence, then it can only mean that whoever brought the food removed it directly after the murder to conceal the fact that the killer came from the kitchen.
I don't know why I didn't see it before.
So, your husband must have been murdered by the night shift bellhop, who gained access to the room under the pretense of delivering a romantic appetizer, which you never got a chance to enjoy, because after murdering your husband in cold blood and not wanting to leave any evidence that the killer was a member of the hotel staff, he removed the telltale oysters and champagne, something that only a member of the hotel staff would do, leaving in its place the even more telltale absence of oysters and champagne, which confirms his guilt.
But why would this bellhop want to kill my husband?
Because, unbeknownst to your husband, this bellhop was having an affair with you.
What? How could you possibly know that?
Listen, lady, I've seen a few bodies dragged out to the alley by bellhops. And you know what? They're easily seduced. They're easily seduced.
Well, just because I'm wearing a towel doesn't mean that you should accuse me of being an adulteress and let alone an accomplice to murder.
You know what? You're right. You are right, and I'm sorry, and I apologize.
Accepted.
Listen, my boss is going to have my proverbial head. If she finds out I shot another employee, you think that we could just agree that this was like a self-inflicted wound?
Yes, of course, Mr. Piston.
Aha!
What?
Yeah. What woman in her right mind is going to agree to cover up the murder of a man who had nothing to do with her husband's murder, unless had everything to do with her husband's murder and she was in on it?
Well, that could only mean one thing.
What's that?
That the widow is not, in fact, in her right mind. Cuckoo! Cuckoo!
Well, this is embarrassing for the both of us. But you know what? Looks like I was wrong again, and my shift's almost over, so you know what? You're free to go.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Piston. I can't tell you what a relief this is. You may not have solved my husband's murder, but knowing that I am innocent of all charges is a huge load off my mind. What little there is left of it, I mean. Cuckoo. How can I ever repay you?
Well, we do have champagne and oysters, and I'm off in 2 minutes.
Oh, Mr. Piston, I think we could get you off before that.
It was a Saturday morning in the big city, and on a Saturday morning, my proverbial work is done here. Well, almost.
Hailey Feldman. Marcella Foster. Rachel Agassi. Richard Leonard. Linda Osborne. Rowan Pelfrey. Audrina Scurry. Roger Smith. Jay Washington. And Zach Vallis.
Zachy.
Not on stage at the moment, Carrie McDermott.